These are the names of the sons of Israel who went to Egypt with Jacob. Each came with his household: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan and Naphtali, Gad and Asher. All the descendants of Jacob were 70 persons in total. Joseph, however, was already in Egypt. Joseph died, and all his brothers, and all that generation. But the Israelites were fruitful and increased greatly. They multiplied and grew exceedingly strong, so that the land was filled with them. Then a new king arose over Egypt, who did not know Joseph. He said to his people, "Look, the people of Israel are more numerous and stronger than we are. Come, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and if war breaks out, they join our enemies, fight against us, and leave the land." So they appointed taskmasters over them to afflict them with heavy burdens. They built for Pharaoh store cities, Pithom and Ramesses. But the more they were oppressed, the more they multiplied and spread. The Egyptians came to dread the Israelites and forced them into harsh labor. They made their lives bitter with hard service in mortar and brick and with all kinds of labor in the fields. In all their work, they ruthlessly made them serve. Then the king of Egypt spoke to the Hebrew midwives, whose names were Shiphrah and Puah. He said to them, "When you help the Hebrew women give birth and see them upon the birth stool, if it is a son, kill him, but if it is a daughter, let her live." But the midwives feared God and did not do as the king of Egypt commanded them. Instead, they allowed the boys to live. So the king of Egypt summoned the midwives and said to them, "Why have you done this and allowed the boys to live?" The midwives answered Pharaoh, "Because the Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women. They are vigorous and give birth before the midwife arrives." So God was kind to the midwives, and the people increased and became very strong. And because the midwives feared God, he established households for them. Then the king of Egypt commanded all his people, saying, "Every son that is born you shall throw into the river, but every daughter you shall let live."
A man from the house of Levi went and married a daughter of Levi. The woman conceived and gave birth to a son. When she saw that he was a beautiful child, she hid him for 3 months. But when she could hide him no longer, she took a basket made of reeds and coated it with tar and pitch. She placed the child in it and set it among the reeds along the bank of the river. His sister stood at a distance to see what would happen to him. Then the daughter of Pharaoh went down to the river to bathe, while her attendants walked along the riverbank. She saw the basket among the reeds and sent her maid to get it. When she opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the baby was crying. She felt compassion for him and said, "This is one of the Hebrew children." Then his sister said to Pharaoh's daughter, "Shall I go and call a nurse from the Hebrew women to nurse the child for you?" Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Go." So the girl went and called the child's mother. Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Take this child and nurse him for me, and I will pay you." So the woman took the child and nursed him. When the child grew older, she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. She named him Moses, saying, "Because I drew him out of the water." One day, when Moses had grown up, he went out to his people and looked upon their burdens. He saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his own people. He looked this way and that, and seeing no one, he struck down the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. The next day he went out again and saw 2 Hebrew men fighting. He said to the one in the wrong, "Why are you striking your fellow?" The man answered, "Who made you a ruler and judge over us? Do you intend to kill me as you killed the Egyptian?" Then Moses became afraid and said, "Surely this matter has become known." When Pharaoh heard of this, he sought to kill Moses, but Moses fled from Pharaoh and settled in the land of Midian, where he sat down by a well. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came to draw water and filled the troughs to water their father's flock. But some shepherds came and drove them away. Moses rose up and helped them and watered their flock. When they returned to their father Reuel, he asked, "Why have you come back so early today?" They answered, "An Egyptian rescued us from the shepherds. He even drew water for us and watered the flock." "Where is he?" their father asked. "Why did you leave the man behind? Invite him to have something to eat." Moses agreed to stay with the man, and he gave Moses his daughter Zipporah in marriage. She gave birth to a son, and Moses named him Gershom, saying, "I have become a foreigner in a foreign land." After a long time, the king of Egypt died. The Israelites groaned because of their slavery and cried out, and their cry for help rose up to God. God heard their groaning, and he remembered his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. God saw the Israelites, and God took notice of them.
Now Moses was tending the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian. He led the flock to the far side of the wilderness and came to the mountain of God, Horeb. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within a bush. Moses saw that though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. So Moses thought, "I will go over and see this strange sight, why the bush does not burn up." When the Lord saw that he had gone over to look, God called to him from within the bush, "Moses, Moses." And Moses said, "Here I am." "Do not come any closer," God said. "Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground." Then he said, "I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob." At this, Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. The Lord said, "I have surely seen the affliction of my people in Egypt. I have heard their cry because of their taskmasters, and I know their suffering. So I have come down to rescue them from the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of that land into a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey, the land of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. And now the cry of the Israelites has reached me, and I have seen the oppression with which the Egyptians are oppressing them. So now go, I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people the Israelites out of Egypt." But Moses said to God, "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt?" And God said, "I will certainly be with you, and this will be the sign to you that it is I who have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God on this mountain." Then Moses said to God, "Suppose I go to the Israelites and say to them, 'The God of your fathers has sent me to you,' and they ask me, 'What is his name?' Then what shall I tell them?" God said to Moses, "I am who I am." And he said, "This is what you are to say to the Israelites, 'I am has sent me to you.'" God also said to Moses, "Say to the Israelites, 'The Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and this is how I am to be remembered from generation to generation. Go, assemble the elders of Israel, and say to them, 'The Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, appeared to me and said, I have surely visited you and seen what has been done to you in Egypt. And I have promised to bring you up out of your misery in Egypt into the land of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, a land flowing with milk and honey. The elders of Israel will listen to you.
Then you and the elders are to go to the king of Egypt and say to him, 'The Lord, the God of the Hebrews, has met with us. Now let us take a 3-day journey into the wilderness to offer sacrifices to the Lord our God.' But I know that the king of Egypt will not let you go unless a mighty hand compels him. So I will stretch out my hand and strike the Egyptians with all the wonders that I will perform among them. After that he will let you go. And I will make the Egyptians favorably disposed toward this people, so that when you leave you will not go empty-handed. Every woman is to ask her neighbor and any woman living in her house for articles of silver and gold, and for clothing, which you will put on your sons and daughters. In this way you will plunder the Egyptians."